All right, let's be real. Are these guys actually geniuses? The Paul brothers started as bedroom vloggers and turned themselves into multi-million-dollar personalities. And even today, they're still revolutionizing the organic marketing world. So here's the million-dollar question. Was their success all a part of just a brilliant strategy, or did they just get lucky? Logan was just a 10-year-old kid from Ohio, but even then, it was clear that entrepreneurship was ingrained into him.
It's up to you if you want to buy a t-shirt like that. It's pretty nice, actually.
He launched a channel called Zoosh, which he ran with his brother Jake, and they posted prank calls, impersonations, gaming content, you know, the usual stuff that was popular back in the early days of YouTube. And then in 2013, something happened that changed the Paul brothers' careers and their lives completely. By 2013, Logan had started college, majoring in industrial engineering at Ohio University, but his focus wasn't really on studies because that year a shiny new platform had launched and it was called Vine. For anyone who doesn't remember those wild times, Vine was a video platform where users uploaded videos that were a maximum of 6 seconds long, and it was a complete cultural phenomenon. It was absolutely massive. But anyway, Logan was one of the first to hop on the platform at its launch, and he built a huge following. He uploaded a video every single day, and his audience got so big that in 2014, he dropped out of college, moved to LA with his brother, got an apartment with a bunch of other Viners, and began pursuing social media full time. Logan was starting to make some big boy money on Vine, scoring deals with big brands like Pepsi, HBO, Virgin Mobile, and Ritz. Now, unfortunately, Vine was short-lived, shutting down in early 2017, but by then, Logan and Jake had gotten what they wanted from it. They grew an audience. Jake had 5 million followers and Logan had 9.4 million, and they transitioned their massive audience from Vine back over to YouTube. And in less than a year, Logan had over 10 million subscribers. And Jake wasn't far behind. In fact, he even landed a leading role on a Disney Channel show. And whatever you think about the Paul brothers, one thing you cannot deny is that they were hustling. Both of them were posting vlogs and pranks every day, and they even leveraged each other's popularity to keep growing, with fake beef between each other becoming one of their signature moves. Oh boy. And then in May 2017, Jake released It's Everyday, Bro.
It's every day, bro, with the Disney Channel flow.
It was a diss track aimed at his ex-girlfriend, and it went viral, mostly because of how bad it was. It's actually the 17th most disliked video on YouTube of all time, but you know, viral is viral. And here's the crazy part though. While most people would be embarrassed by a song that gets absolutely roasted by the internet, well, Jake, he didn't give a damn, and he doubled down. He kept making music, kept making headlines, and kept people talking. Because at the end of the day, in the world of digital content, attention is currency, and the Paul brothers knew exactly how to get it. Meanwhile though, Logan was pulling his own moves, and he made a diss track too, directed at Jake.
Yeah, little brother Jakey try to roast me.
He took his YouTube channel to a new level with high energy, professionally edited vlogs that felt more like short films than your typical internet video. He even started dabbling in traditional acting, landing roles in TV shows and movies. But this is what makes the Paul brothers different from everyone else. They didn't just ride trends, they were innovators who saw what was coming before anyone else did. They were early to YouTube, they were early to Vine, early to the idea that personal branding was the real moneymaker. I mean, you couldn't just watch a Logan Paul video without seeing his Maverick merch literally everywhere, just thrown up on the screen. All right, but let's be real here. This kind of growth came at a cost. Let's not beat around the bush here. There were, and still are, a lot of people who cannot stand the Paul brothers. They're brash, they're loud, and possibly the most controversial influencers ever.
I did not lie. I did not lie. What I did do is embellish.
I mean, there is literally a 50-minute video about the crimes that they have both committed. By 2017 though, they were titans of YouTube. They were kind of cringy, but mostly harmless, and then things started to change. Look though, this is a marketing video, not a comprehensive overview of all the controversial things that the Paul brothers have done, but to make our point, we've got to at least lay down the highlights, well, lowlights, I guess. First, it was Jake. By 2017, he had bought a West Hollywood mansion, and reports soon surfaced that he was a nightmare neighbor, turning the once quiet neighborhood into a war zone. He lit furniture on fire in the yard, drove a motorcycle in his pool, constant disruptive partying. Needless to say, Disney fired him.
I am no longer going to be a part of Bizarrevark.
And then, oh goodness, there's Logan Paul's trip to Japan. We're not even gonna go into this story more than that. You know what happened, and it was bad. There was outrage, and the consequences were severe.
Like I said, I made a huge mistake. I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm just here to apologize.
And I'm not kidding. This is just scratching the surface of all of their controversies. By 2018, Logan and Jake's reputations were just straight up in the gutter. Logan's YouTube channel got demonetized, which is basically the kiss of death for a creator. And Jake Paul got sued by his neighbors. They lost brand deals. They were cut from current and upcoming TV show roles. Movies that they were working on got put on hold. And basically the entire public viewed them as arrogant troublemakers, or worse. It's here that you just really start to wonder, did these guys build such a big platform because of their brilliance, or were they just a couple of meatheads who just got lucky on the algorithm? Say what you will about the Paul brothers, but they're resilient. Even when their stock was at an all-time low, they pushed on. Their ability to recover from massive controversy is honestly one of the most fascinating things about their careers. Now, the Paul brothers had a choice in 2019. Fade into irrelevance or reinvent themselves completely, and they chose the second option. Logan's redemption arc started in a boxing ring. It all began in 2018 with a YouTube boxing match against KSI, one of the most watched amateur fights in history. Then in 2019, they took it even further with a professionally sanctioned boxing match held at the Staples Center and broadcast live by DAZN. This was the turning point for Logan. He had shifted his image from controversial YouTuber to actual legitimate athlete, and then he just doubled down. He started training with elite boxers, launched a podcast called Impulsive that became one of the most popular in the world, and in 2021 he fought Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest boxers of all time. That fight alone reportedly made him around $18 million. And then came the WWE. We've covered a lot on this channel about WWE's crazy comeback, but Logan Paul has been a huge part of that. In 2022, Logan made his debut at WrestleMania 38, and shockingly, he was really good. And his past controversies generated views too. By 2023, he signed a multi-year WWE contract and became a full-time professional wrestler. He ended up being a savvy entrepreneur too. Logan co-founded Prime Hydration, a sports drink that exploded in popularity and reportedly made $250 million in its first year. He also launched Lunchly, a new food brand aimed at healthy eating, and has a reality TV show in the works starring him and Jake. And speaking of Jake, he kind of followed a similar path as his brother, going all in on boxing. He trained hard, worked his way up, and by 2022, he was fighting real fighters, including former UFC champions like Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva. Were they fair fights? I don't know, but you can let me know in the comments. In May 2022, Forbes listed him as one of the highest paid athletes of the year, estimating that he made $38 million just from boxing and business ventures. And like his brother, Jake built a strong business portfolio. He co-founded Better, a micro betting sports platform that capitalized on the exploding market of online sports gambling. He also launched Most Valuable Promotions, a company that puts on massive boxing events. And this again leads us to what the Paul brothers do best. They see where things are heading before everyone else does, and they adapt. They get there first, they get there loud, and they understand how to turn attention into money. Let's just face it, at this point, they're not just influencers anymore, they're full-fledged entrepreneurs, and yes, brilliant marketers. So what can marketers learn from these knuckleheads? 3 words: innovation, resilience, and adaptability. Why do these even matter? matter because in marketing, the landscape is always shifting. Platforms change, consumer behavior evolves, attention moves. The brands and people who stay ahead are the ones who see the shifts before they happen and act fast. And that's exactly what the Paul brothers did. They weren't just creators, they were innovators. They were early to YouTube, immediate adapters of Vine, and quick to pivot when one platform died. Being first to a space means grabbing attention before it gets crowded. And as a marketer, you've got to ask yourself, what are those new and emerging spaces now? Where can your brand find new audiences? Is it TikTok Shop, Blue Sky, AI, virtual reality? But innovation alone just isn't enough. You also need resilience. The Paul brothers hit rock bottom hard. And in marketing, brands face their own setbacks, failed campaigns, PR flops, shifting market trends. And in social media, sometimes it feels like you're posting over and over and over again, and no one ever hears you. You've got to be resilient. Look at the numbers and adapt, which leads us to our final point, which is adaptability. The Pauls saw where the market was going and put themselves right there. Just like Tesla betting big on EVs before anyone else, or Netflix ditching DVDs for streaming, or Airbnb creating a movement around home sharing before traditional hotels even saw them as competition. You've got to think about the direction your industry is going and be the first to get there. The best brands and the best marketers don't just respond to trends, they evolve with them. So what's the lesson here? Innovation gets you ahead, resilience keeps you in the game, and adaptability ensures that you stay relevant. The Paul brothers didn't just survive, they thrived, and in marketing, it's just the name of the game.